Okay, let's get started. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to...
Hi.
Hey.
This lighting and my shock of blonde hair right here really makes me look like a ghost.
I'm not sure they can hear you because it's this microphone, but yes, you do look like a ghost. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the stream tonight. I'm Eric. I'm your editor.
I'm Maria Lisa.
That's Maria Lisa.
I'm his girlfriend.
She's in a good mood. So yes, welcome to the stream. Welcome to tonight's edit session. Tonight we're going to be working on a new short film, actually. So we're going to kind of be going in from the start here. It's a film called B52. Are you hi-momming in the background? Okay, be gone. So yes, tonight we're starting the new cut of a new short film. It's a thriller called B52. It's a fantastic little Knives Out style story. It's based on an Arthur Conan Doyle adaptation, which is really cool. And not a Sherlock Holmes story. It's one of his other ones. So yeah, tonight we're starting the first cut. So we've got the footage has been sorted. We've picked out some takes. I'm gonna talk about that, and then we will start kind of piecing rudimentary cuts of the first couple scenes together. We'll see how long we go tonight. One of the main reason that I do this, as I try to say at the beginning of every stream, the main reason I do this is because editing in so many ways is it's such an essential part of filmmaking, but is often one of the parts that gets completely kind of hidden behind a curtain. You know, I mean, even with like today's crazy like blockbuster media driven thing where it's like we know everything about the movie, and every new development is a big deal, and is a headline. You don't hear a lot about editing. You often, you'll get the tons of stuff about who's being tapped to be in the movie and direct the movie and write the movie and who's producing it and who's funding it, and then you get, they started production and here's behind the scenes photos and here this person spotted on set. Let's figure out what the costume might look like, and so on and so forth. And then the movie wraps and nobody says a thing about it until the trailers drop. So editing kind of ends up being in the background, and it is such a hugely important part of the filmmaking process that it's something that I like to stream and to try to share as much as I can. And yeah, so that's why I do it. That's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go ahead and jump on in. So welcome to Premiere Pro. If you're new to the editing space, this is my editing program. It's the Adobe Premiere. Let me take a drink here real quick. I just came from theater callback, so I've been talking all night, and now I'm jumping on here to talk to you guys. But anyway, so yes, this is the Adobe suite. I will emphasize, like, this is where I do the majority of my editing. Sometimes I'll jump into DaVinci to do color grading. Depends on the project, depends on the needs of the footage, but whatever you're editing in, if you like DaVinci, if you're new to editing and you want to get started, DaVinci Resolve. It's made by the same company that makes Blackmagic cameras. It is free. It is crazy powerful. It's honestly, it does not feel like it should be free given how good of a system it is, and they keep adding more and more excellent features. So you might want to edit in that. If you edit in Final Cut, if you edit in if you're old school and you edit in Avid, or if you're still editing in iMovie, that's all of it's totally fine. Some of the things I'm doing might be different, but the actual process of the choices you make cutting a movie together are going to be the same. There should be, because it's all at the core of it. It's a storytelling art, and that's what we're doing, and the tools matter less than the choices you make and how to use them. So, with that said, what I have here, I'm gonna talk a little bit in terms of multiple timelines and so on and so forth. What I have here is my basic timeline. I call it my workroom. So right over here, you see it says workroom. I'm gonna go and close this panel. I don't really need that open. There's a bunch of panels I probably don't need open. Let's see back to sequences. Here we go. So yes, this is my basic panel. It's what I call my workroom. What it has is it's all the footage. The footage has all been synced up. That's what all the green is. The blue is the footage. The blue, kind of, I'm gonna zoom in a bit here. The blue audio track, kind of right there, is the sound out of the camera, and then the green audio tracks are the sound out of our external recorders from our magnificent sound team. And this is the reason there's more on some and less on others is number of mics and number of channels that our sound people recorded with. A lot of this is going to end up. I'm gonna, as I work on this, I'm either gonna mute it or I'm gonna adjust it or I'm gonna, focus on one or two things because we do have a magnificent sound editor who's gonna take the reins on the sound work after I'm done cutting the film together. So, a lot of this is there because I have it, but it is not. I'm not gonna be relying on it too much. I have also divided this into scenes, and you can see this is a movie that has kind of one big central scene as well as some other ones. So. Tonight I'm gonna see how I go with this. One of the things that the advice I've gotten on editing or storytelling in general a lot of the time is to follow the fun and to kind of whatever's fun to work on and what you want to make choices on. So I'm probably gonna start with I'm probably not gonna go in order when I start editing. But anyway, so yes, I've got all the blue up here are all the takes, is all the clips, and then down here's the sound. This has all already been synced up, so it does line up with each other. So I know people's mouths are going to move and they're going to talk like you're going to hear the sound when you should. I have also, and this is a fantastic luxury that I've had on this film. And man, I got to tell you, I also shot this movie as a cinematographer, and this film has just been luxury after luxury. In terms of low budget independent filmmaking, I got things on this film that that are a wonderful bonus to have, and that is all thanks to Elena Critter, who wrote and directed it. And produced, and she is a magnificent person and very, very, very accommodating. So, to all that to say, the different layers here, like these, you notice these clips are not all, they're on three different layers. This is because she has already given me the list of takes that she likes the best, which does so much for helping edit through this, especially in this movie, because we had a very, very talented cast who did a very good job giving us different things in different takes and kind of showing us different sides of the character. So having Elena have told me which takes are her favorites, definitely helps clue me into her vision for the project, and B, means I can really hone in on making sure that the choices she makes and the things she wants highlighted are the things that get highlighted. So yes, that's what we've got there. If I jump over to and then I've also got an assembly cut timeline here with currently nothing on it, which is what we're gonna start filling in tonight. Excuse me. Let's see. I think the scene I want to start with is this one. This scene is it's kind of our third scene in the movie. Sort of. We have an establishing scene that's just a few shots of getting our character into the house, and then we have our first full scene. We have a second scene here, and then we have a second smaller scene that's them traveling, and then our big scene here that's going to be the fun monster to tackle. It's also worth noting. I know I'm over talking a lot about this, partially because it's the first time working on a project. So working on a new project, I tend to talk more, because I'm hoping there might be people who are new to editing watching. So I like to just kind of walk through my process up to this point. Also, I don't know if this is happening right now, but I am super, super excited that we may have some of the cast and crew watching. And so the chance to share this work with them that we shot it a few months ago, and now we're getting to sit down, and now we're getting a chance to hopefully maybe even together see this thing see the pieces start to come together on this project is so exciting for me. So I'm kind of I want to show off a little. But anyway, so down here on my desk, I've got the script. I've got my script. I've got my my lighting designs. I've got my shot list, and all of this is at this point becomes reference material. This is if I get lost and I'm all right, do we want to tweak that? What's the script say? There's an old saying, filmmaking is less than 200 years old. So old in perspective. But there is a saying that a film gets made 3 times: once on the page, once on the set, and once in the edit. And so the script at this point, and for a movie like this, where it's a thriller and where on set we stuck very closely to the script. This is I will be using the script as reference, and I don't think I'm gonna worry too much about. I'm not worried too much about getting to a spot and being like, oh wait, hang a second, how did we get here? I don't think that's gonna happen. But having the script here as reference, I think it's important. I also know, but I'm not. I have it here, but it's not the Bible. There are things that's a weird sentence because I ignore the Bible to begin with, but it's not like there are things I will feel free to change, and these are all that's why I've got the assembly cut. We're probably gonna get to 7 or 8 different cuts by the time we're done with this movie, and that's to try things. Editing has a lot of power for trying things. Okay, so with all that said, let's start moving into an actual edit of a scene. So we're going to go ahead and copy. I'm going to copy everything. I'm going to select everything for this scene. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go into the assembly cut, and I'm going to paste it in. Cool. So now we have it all in here. There's a little bit of a divide here between. We have 2 different scenes actually. I pulled 2 different scenes that are very close to each other. Yes. Okay. That's the scene divide. There's 2 scenes here. There's one that gets us kind of from the kitchen to the foot of the stairs, and then there's the scene on the stairs. We'll see if we end up doing both tonight. We might just do the kitchen and a little more talking, but we'll see. So this is the staircase scene. The staircase scene, I'm going to move that all down here. Second, this is the here we go. This is the kitchen scene, or the kitchen into the hallway scene. That's getting moved down here, so I've got some space to work at the beginning. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything here. I'm going to disconnect it from each other, and I'm going to delete the camera audio. Again, it's saved here in the workroom. It's still here. I'm not deleting it from the project itself, but once I'm actually getting into scene construction, I do not need it. Now I'm just for safety's sake, just for clarity, I'm gonna move all this stuff. Come on, up a line to now. Yeah, just to keep stuff somewhat organized. I try to be as organized as I can when it comes to editing, just because it's so easy. It's easy to get confused and lose things, and B, editing is so often there's so much potential for, like, okay, I'm gonna do a cut of this movie. I'm gonna send it to somebody. They like I don't think this is gonna happen in this case. And if it does, that is neither here nor there. But it's possible. Like, I send someone a cut, I don't hear back from them for a couple of months, or we finish the edit of we're waiting on the sound design or the music, and so we send it off and we don't hear back for a couple of months. And the more organized you are in the editing process and in just the setup, the easier it is to come back in after some time and be like, okay, I know where everything is. I know where we're at. So this scene, we did 4 takes. Now, I know we shot this backwards. So we did 4 takes of the first shot and 4 takes of the second. We're going to go over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to watch. I am going to watch all 4 takes, knowing that these last 2 are considered the best. In this case, I'm going to watch all 4 takes. In case you're wondering, this screen up here with these lines on here. They are not part of the actual footage. They are there for my own reference, just so I can. It helps me kind of paying attention to composition. And if I start doing, when we get to some actual dialogue and we're doing like shot reverse shot for the characters, it helps to make sure the eye lines match up and that everyone's you're looking in the right direction at the right moment. So, drink some sweet tea, get some life back into myself, and we're gonna go ahead and watch. We're gonna watch all 4 takes of this shot. So, play. Okay, why am I not hearing sound? That's an excellent question. Where's my sound mixer? It's all up. Why am I? Oh, there we go. It hadn't kicked in yet. Okay.
Action.
There we go. Okay, so now we're in. Here we go. Good. Okay. So, first thing you notice, or first thing I notice, I'm going to zoom in to make my point, is if you look in this, like, mirrors are always a fun thing to work with on set, and you always got to rehearse carefully with them, because if you look carefully, that's the camera. And that's why we rehearse. That's why we rehearse with the camera team. So I know this shot isn't the one we're going to go with. And this one's an interesting one because and something I love about working with Elena on projects like this is Elena is some directors there's a thing called coverage, and if you're new to the film industry, coverage is basically, you know, if you're shooting coverage, you are shooting more than you think you need of a scene. You're shooting if you're not shooting coverage, you're like, all right, I know this line is being done from this angle, so we're only going to shoot that angle. Shooting on the other end of the spectrum, shooting a lot of coverage is, okay, we're going to, you know, this is a dialogue scene between two characters. Cool. We're going to do a wide angle from here and a wide from here, and then we're going to do a medium shot from here and a medium from here, and then a close-up, and then a close-up, and then we're going to do, like, some moving shots, and we're just going to shoot this scene a whole bunch of different ways and then kind of find it in the edit. That can take more time on it's kind of the balance. And there's no right way or wrong way to shoot a film. It just depends entirely on your taste as director, as cinematographer, as production team. But the kind of trade-off a lot of the time of, okay, if we're not shooting coverage obviously takes a lot of time. If we're shooting like this, where we didn't shoot a ton of coverage on this movie, we have some overlap, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But we didn't shoot a ton of coverage, especially for some of these moments where they're traveling, which means we have to take more time with these takes to make sure we get them right, because we don't have anything to cut to. If none of these takes work, there is no alternative for how to keep this moment in the movie. So that's what we got to be careful with, and that can also take more time depending on it. We know this one doesn't work, we're going to delete that. Next take. And again, these two takes these first two takes are the takes that we here we go. Playing.
Shot 3A, take 2.
There we go. Yes, these first two takes are the takes we know we didn't love the most, but we're watching them anyway.
Action.
Which honestly, that matters more on a scene where you did shoot coverage, because if just because the take isn't the best take overall, there might be something usable in it if you are going to be cutting around. In this case, I'm looking for the part of the scene that I know we're going to use. I am looking for the best version of that. No camera in the lens in the shot there. That's good. Okay. Pretty good. These actors are, let me get a shot where they're both in frame. There we go. These actors are Annabelle Little and Adam Keller, by the way, and they are both an absolute joy to work with. I have rarely seen people show up on set and embody the roles they're playing as easily as these two did. These guys understood the assignment. Okay, so now we're on to the two takes that Elena selected as the best, and from what I remember about being on set, I'm inclined to agree. You take notes on set. As I say, movie gets made multiple times. On set, after each take, we have our either someone's your assistant director, your script supervisor. Various, depends on the size of the production and what crew you have, but you take notes on, okay, we've finished, we've shot this, we've shot the takes we like, we're good to move on. Which takes did we like best? So you have those notes, you look at those notes, you watch the takes again, and you see if those on-set decisions hold. In this case, I believe they did. I remember us liking takes 3 and 4 the best. So let's watch them again. Let's watch them.
Roll camera. Camera roll. Shot 3A, take 3. Action.
Also, real quick, here's why editing doesn't get a whole lot of press, is because This is a lot of editing. Is a lot of okay. Let's sit here and watch this a bunch of times. And when we start cutting, there's gonna be a lot of let's add a frame, take a frame away. Maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't. Something's off. Keep fidgeting with it. Editing takes patience. There's a lot of patience in editing. I feel confident talking over this because I know we're not going to use the beginning of these takes. For a couple reasons. One, I know the shots that we have of this moment elsewhere are better, and also because the importance of this moment in the story is too important to do in a simple wide like this. Not bad. Okay, definitely. That take is not a bad take. Definitely a lot of good stuff happened in that moment. Let's check my phone real fast, y'all. Cool. All right. Cool. Moving on. We like that take. That take hits all the beats we wanted it to and does everything we need it to. Oftentimes, what we'll do is we will shoot. We'll shoot a take until we get a take that works, and then if we have the time, we'll shoot a couple more. Because like, okay, now we've got some. Now we know the movement. Now we can start fine tuning it and start making it, like, getting it really in our heads, make it feel more real. And it also gives us a chance to play and try different things. Now that we've got a take, we've got one we know works. If all else fails, we're safe with this one. Now we can play a little bit.
Roll camera. Camera roll. Sleep. Shot 3A, take 4. Action.
Also, if anybody watching either now or later would like me to explain kind of more of the process of like the things we're saying before a take, the slate and the frame and the stuff, like just leave a comment on this video and I'll talk about it next time. Okay, and that take's gonna end there. All right. So I'm definitely on the fence about these two being the best. So step one, we're gonna go ahead and remove that. Step two, I'm gonna go ahead and trim off the stuff that I know we're not gonna use. Real quick, talk about some of the awesome stuff. Like one of the things you really do learn in editing, almost more than you learn. Thank you, Premiere. Almost more than you learn in any other field. Like cinematography being the other big option is, and sound people. Sound people, I'm sure even though they don't get to flex it much, have an encyclopedic knowledge of this. Is the amount of stuff, like you really, it sounds like such a simple thing, but you really, the only things that you see in a movie are the things the camera sees, which means there's a lot you can hide. For instance, our sound guy is behind this wall. Like, you can see they stick the boom out here so they can pick up the sound of the slate.
Shot 3A, take 3.
And then they sneak back behind that wall. That wall is a little alcove that actually is a good place to hide our sound person. They don't need to be attached to the camera, and that way they can focus on getting the footsteps of our actors here because there's no dialogue. they can get the footsteps without having to move with us or like sort of squeeze through the door with the camera dolly as we're moving over here. Okay. So I'm gonna move this forward. Pull this back a little. I'm not gonna make a huge cut here yet. I'm not sure exactly where we're gonna transition from the last scene to this one, but I want to make sure it's happening very close to movement because I don't want to like the moment here gives us some nice momentum, and I don't want to lose that. So he nods. We start moving. I'm just gonna skip ahead to the end here real fast. And as soon as he kind of leans out, we're gonna cut away because the next shot, his lean out is one of the things that starts us off. Pull this down. Let me go ahead and link these so that they all kind of function as one thing. Do the same thing here. Now, here's a fun thing. There is a spot where I can and actually might hide a cut in this shot. We'll see if I end up needing to do it. So she walks out. He checks the mirror, and he kind of leans up there, right about like that. Cool. We'll put that cut there, and I can adjust if I need to. Boom. Let's take this. Let's link it like that. Excellent. Let's pull this back. Cool. Okay. So we have our two takes, and I've now cut off the beginnings and ends so I can watch them again, just looking at their merits. And I'm looking at a bunch of different things. If any, like looking at a bunch of things. I'm looking at the technique. I'm looking at the technique of it. In this case, I'm paying attention to the relationship between camera movements and the actors. This is kind of a very David Fincher thing, but because this movie is a thriller, and thrillers kind of at their core are a more subjective genre. There's expectations that the camera is like, this isn't a documentary where the camera, and this is an overgeneralization about documentaries, but it's not a documentary where the camera is designed to just show what's happening more or less dispassionately. This is like, in here we want to be inside our characters' heads. We want to be in the moment with them. We want to be experiencing this right along with them, and especially right along with him. Adam is our protagonist, at least at the beginning. That's how it seems. So in this moment, this is the first time we're getting a partnership between the two of them, and there's a filmmaking standard, not universally true, but a good thing to think about is that every single shot a shot can only show one thing, and so a shot of two people shows a relationship. And this is the first sustained two shot with them. It's the first time we see the two of them moving together, and so it's like we want to be feeling that with them. So I'm looking for, I want to make sure, like, okay, the camera starts moving when they start moving. The camera feels like it's on this journey with the two of them. So that's something I'm looking for. I'm looking for the technicals, obviously, to make sure that we're not seeing lights or we're not everyone's framed well. And yeah, and then I'm also looking for, and this is why I watch it. This is why you watch things a bunch of times. I'm trying to try to do a watch where I take off my I take off my viewer or my editor hat and just kind of watch it as a viewer. Like, where's my eye going? Who do I feel? What do I feel? Who am I connecting with? So for this, I'm gonna go ahead and I think this is nope. I'm not going to figure out what the shortcut is. I'm just going to click it. There we go. Control, semicolon. Okay, so we're going to turn those off for now, just so I can watch them. So I can watch this. So here we go. We're going to watch both of these again. I love the lens flares we're getting. Camera moved a little bit more after she stopped. Hey. Hi. And we leave the looking at the mirror when he does. All right, cool. want to watch that again. I want to watch this beginning, this dining room section again. And hey, got the Lead You T-shirt on. There we go. Shout out to that company. I'm gonna watch this moment again, and I want to try to find when does my eye. I start off watching her, and then at some point in this shot, I switch to him. I feel myself doing it. I want to pinpoint where.
Who's watching?
I don't know.
Hello, friends.
Right there. Okay. So right there, when she turns and looks at him, that passes the moment off to him, and then we stay with him while he checks the mirror. We see her, and then they move off together. Okay, that's a good take. Let's watch. Yeah, what is take 4? But our other potential take. Actually, let me go back. I want to watch this one more time and see where the movement is. Because we don't move with him at first. We move with, once he starts moving. Okay. All right, camera was a little behind both of them. I think that moment should start off following, I like the idea that that the camera doesn't move until he does in the kitchen, and then when we get to the dining room, the camera is following her. As we transition from room to room, we're also transitioning power. We're transitioning whose story it kind of is in the moment. So here we go. Same thing, so I gotta pick one of those. Coming through here. We spent a lot of time talking about shadows. I feel like same kind of thing. It passes off to him when she looks at it. It passes off a little bit later in this one, though. Okay. One sec. Okay, cool. So, yeah. We want to head back?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Good.
Have fun saying goodnight to Maria, Lisa. There we go. See ya. All right. I want to watch this first take one more time. I want to watch specifically Adam's performance, just to. Okay. All right. I think I have my choice. I'm gonna go with the first take. I think that one plays a little bit. I think it nails the things it needs to nail better. I am going to really quick. I'm gonna do something. So one thing I usually do, I'm gonna create a new sequence just by duplicating the first one. Called RHSC. It's a niche film term that most people don't. That you don't need to know. It's gonna take too long to explain. Anyway, so now I'm going to go into there. Now the RHSC for me it's where I put the takes that I like but I'm not using. Ooh, that was wrong. This take is the one I'm not using. So, and literally all it is just a repository for the stuff I don't use. That if there's I send Elena a cut of the movie and she says, okay, I liked that, but like that moment didn't quite land. Do we have another take of that? I can be like, yes, I have another take that I know I liked enough to consider for the final choice. Usually a lot of my, unless I'm very sure about something or something actually doesn't work, usually my second to last choice on most takes ends up there. Or if, the other thing that happens a lot is if I'll cut a scene together, and then there'll be oh, can we try cutting, what if we did that scene where like we stay on one person's face the whole time and everything else is audio. Like, okay, that's a cool idea, and we're going to try that, and that might actually work. That worked really well in the, there's a horror movie that I'm editing that we did that, and it worked really well. But I still saved the initial edit of the rest of that scene in my RHSC timeline, specifically because it on the off chance we decide at some point that I wish we want to go back to the way things to what it used to be, we can do that. Okay, so we've got this take. The one thing I think I want to do with it is I'm gonna hide a little cut there. Yeah, I love the lens flare we get here crossing his face. I love that we stay with her. She turns and looks, lands on Adam, and it also, I think, for me personally, I think this take does a better job drawing our attention to the kind of like the sort of weird symmetry here with him in the middle, trapped between two different versions of her. I think this take does a better job of that, and that's on me. I think I framed this better in this take than I did in the other take. So he notices it, and we see, and now we're watching the mirror. We see her turn, and then we come back to him. This scene, the two of them perform very well, and they do a very good job of controlling where our intentions, the audience, should be. Now, the one place I'm going to hide a cut is this wall is too big. So I'm going to do a couple different things. Yeah, right here. So once I kind of cover the wall there, I'm going to go ahead and put a cut. And I'm going to pull this out to when we uncover the wall, which is about here. I'm going to put another cut. Let's see what this looks like if I just delete that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. With a quick little, maybe a little bit less, maybe a tiny bit. I'm gonna split the difference here. So delete this, delete that. Because we do end up, we spend a good amount of time seeing the stuff here on the counter. I don't want to necessarily keep all, I want to keep that, but I also don't want to have us waiting looking at the wall. And that might change. I might go back and look at this and be like, no, we needed that the way it was. And this is one of the reasons that I keep everything in the workroom originally intact, so I can go back and be like, let's go back and look at the original cut of that, the original clip. It does feel a tiny bit fast, but not necessarily too bad. We're gonna extend it a little more. Maybe with that. That looks smoother. I like that. Feels like we're crossing the wall without feeling like it's a hidden cut. You can sort of tell, but eventually I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna put some fades in here so you really whatever little jumps there are, you really don't catch. And the camera tilts up with her. I like that. All right, cool. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back here. Again, I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to end up using, but this shot is a tiny bit off kilter. What I'm going to do is we're going to go to like 110. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to pull this down just a touch, and then I'm going to rotate it. And Premiere is very unkind to doing small rotations. Let's try 2%. No, let's do 15 and go to like 4%. I can get away with that. Almost. 3.5. There we go. That is not bad. I like that. Just kind of gives us a little bit more of a. Actually, it looks like I overdid it even. Let's go back. Let's go back to 2. It's kind of hard to see when there's. Let's see. Comparing lines. I'm trying to look at the. I'm on a bit of a weird angle anyway. I'm like, just because I'm not looking straight onto the wall, I'm looking on a bit of an angle. But you're straight on here. I'm looking at my screen, but it looks completely wrong to you guys. So straight on versus an angle. So I'm on a bit of an angle, so I'm never going to get it perfect. But little tweaks, I think, are good. Also even a little bit of a feeling that he is subtly walking downhill is not a bad thing, I don't think. But if I'm going back to 2%, I might go to zoom this back out. Let's try 105. Can I do that? No, I can't get away with that. Can I try 110? I can get away with that. Okay, cool. My general kind of default rule for how much can I zoom in on footage is I can usually get to about 150% before you start losing quality. and even sometimes even then you don't. If it's a small enough thing, you don't notice it. But all right, still has a little bit of that downhill feeling, not in a bad way. I think this works pretty well. Coming across, good. Camera tilts up. As soon as she kind of exits the frame, we land on him. Yeah. Okay. Now the one thing I would like to do, I'm going to zoom this take in a little tiny bit. Oh, let me try 110. Yeah, 110 is good because I want to do two things. One, I want to bring this over a little bit so that he kind of stays in frame. And the second thing I want to do is I want to bring it up to the top so that there we go. Stay with her. And we kind of keep the two of them within my nice box until she needs to cross it. There we go. Nice little power moment for them. And she really is framing him on either side. And that is right at the top of the frame, which is good. Cool. All right, so that's that little moment. That's that little take. Let's go ahead and save this. And of course, one thing I'm gonna do, and this is something that I like. Editors like. There's an old filmmaking thing that's again old filmmaking. That says you don't start actually editing the movie until after it comes out, and then you start going back and being like, oh, I should have done that. Oh, that would have been better. Oh, yeah. So one thing I try to do as an editor is I will edit a scene, and then I'll edit it at night or I'll edit it during the day, and then I will go back and re-watch it at night or during the day, whatever one I didn't do, so that I'm like, all right, this made sense in the moonlight? Does it make sense in the daylight? And I adjust timings and so on to just make sure that it's theoretically when my mind is thinking differently and the world's in a different place, it still makes sense and it still works. It still feels natural. This to me right now, my thought is I like this because he is kind of more classically framed. He's in the center of the frame. He's got a good amount of headroom, whereas she has moments where she's cut off. There's moments where the camera sort of has to find her, especially when she walks into this room. We tilt up with her. We tilt up to kind of discover her. So he kind of ends up more classically framed. We're kind of staying with him, and what this ends up doing is making him kind of our audience surrogate character in her world, especially in this moment, because he is again more closer to center frame. He's a little more classically framed. She is huge over here and tiny over here, and just encompasses the whole of him. And that's actually visually, and this might be me over analyzing the movie, but visually this is a good. This kind of foreshadows things that are to come. So. Nice little bonus there. He walks to her, they make a connection, he then checks the mirror, and he moves off. Cool. Alright, so we've got our take. Let's save that. Let's work on the next shot in the scene. I think what I'm going to do tonight, by the way, because I'm already 45 minutes into this, I think tonight what I'm going to do, this is going to be a debatably shorter stream. Sometimes streams I tend to just kind of go as long as need be, at least to get to a stopping point or to the point where you feel your creativity starting to sort of slip. But I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to get this shot done. I'm going to get this scene done, which is just these two takes, and then I'm going to try to do the opening, which is 3 shots, and that'll be my wrap up for the night. So the opening, I know I'm going to come back and revisit. All right, and once again, the process starts over. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to link these all as individual bits. Link. Don't move it, just select it. There we go. And select it and link it. So that way I can just kind of move and adjust them without having to worry about adjusting the sound separately because they are from different sources. Okay, let's watch these takes.
Camera rolls. Shot 3B, take 1. Action.
I love that little bit of visual that little comedic bit of him popping his head out. Good. Okay. Good first take. The rule with the lighting and the thought for behind the way we did this scene is because the two of them are sneaking around at what's supposed to be a New Year's party, that we would play with the majority of the lighting coming from other sources from outside from open doorways and lit rooms just off screen. So give us a chance to play with some shadows and some light and interesting lighting.
Shot 3B, take 2.
There's our sound guy again sneaking into his hiding spot. Real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and take the guides off again. Here we go. Sorry. I really like his work there. I like that kind of that stiff walk that he does, which is very it's almost old school comedy that I really like. And this is the thing I talk about when we talk about the amazing power of editing. Is there are takes of this, there were a lot of this that I could lean into that would lean into like either more visual comedy. Thank you, Premiere. Would lean into more visual comedy versus leaning into more of a more serious, thrillery tone. In a movie like this, where the vibe we're going for is very akin to something like Knives Out, where you want to have, it's a thriller and it's like there's, we have some very big consequences at stake, but at the same time, you're still enjoying the ride. The job of the editor is to strike that balance, and the director as well. Here we go. Oh, we already watched that take. Let's watch the next one.
Shot 3B, take 3.
Nice and crisp. Okay, good take.
Ready. Camera rolls.
Shot 3B, take 4. Action.
Okay, I like that. I want to watch that moment again. Cool. Okay, so that fourth take is definitely my favorite take. I'm gonna pull that over here. Let's watch our first take. Didn't really do anything for me. We're gonna watch 2 and 3 again and see if any of them, if either of them kind of feel like they can unseat the fourth take. A couple things I like about this, and this actually gives me a really good opportunity, and once I start putting this together, to talk about the power editors have over the control of the story. Something I like with this, we still, the same way we did in the dining room, we still end up in a position where she is like in this on the side. We talked a lot about keeping characters on one side of the frame versus the other, and that's an important part of the blocking and the choreography of the story. But she is still much larger in frame than he is, and so over the course of this, we see us traveling through the house, but also thematically, it's even without sound, without knowing the story, we know she is in control and that he is following her. Obviously, just because he's following her, but also just visually, she is the more powerful presence. Therefore, she's the character we follow. Okay, let's watch these two takes again.
Ready. Speeding. Camera rolls.
Shot 3B, take 2.
Yep. Frame.
Action.
Oh, this is gonna be a tough decision, and I don't like that. But it's gonna be a tough decision. That's a good thing. All right, let's watch this other take one more time.
Yes, ready. Sound speeding. Camera rolls.
Shot 3B, take 3.
I will also say it is at this point that I, as editor, have chosen have kind of the take in mind that I think is the best, and now everything else has to beat that.
Action.
There's a lot I like in these takes. There's a lot that I like. Oh man, these choices are gonna kill me because I like these takes. And this is again one of the times I'm like I like each one for slightly different reasons, and I like certain moments in each one better than others. And so it's like this is me like, oh, if we had shot this in a very coveragey way, I'd be able to like, oh, I like the beginning of this take, in the middle of this one, and the end of this one. I can just try to cut them together. Can't do that here. So here's what we're gonna do.
4. Action.
Alright, I'm going to push this until I see her step out. We're going to cut off the beginning and the ends, and we're going to, oop, wrong thing. We're going to watch them again, kind of in a rapid fire succession. So he clears frame. That's all I need there. There she is. We're going to pull this back. Put that, let's put cut. Complete. And he clears. Good. Let's pull this back to right when he crosses. Good. Excellent. And one more time.
Action.
Right there. Yep. Cool. All right. Takes here. Put this here, put them in the middle because I should mix them up a little bit so I don't exactly know which one's which. All right. And we're gonna watch them again. that one's all right. That's kind of cool because they clear frame and the camera doesn't really change. It almost there's gonna be no, take it back. That cut was not as hidden as I thought it was. Here we go. Back to the beginning of this one, please. Alright, I think I'm going with that middle take. But however, both of these are getting put into the RHSC because they're both really good. Didn't have a problem with really either one of them, and I will tell you why I'm going with this middle take, and it is this moment right. So she walks across, that's good. Looks back, he steps back, he waits, he checks. He goes quickly. Across, he lands next to her. There's the thing that I like, and I talk about a shot being a relationship. He very stealthily sneaks past, and then when he gets to her, he kind of comes back up to his full height and looks at her and makes eye contact, and it's a moment of, okay, we're back together. It's a moment of connection the two of them have that I didn't get as strongly in the other takes. That's what we're going to go with. So these two are getting dropped in here because they are both very good. And it's entirely possible that, like, Elena and I are gonna, I'm gonna send Elena a cut of this, or she might watch this stream, excuse me, either, whether she's watching now or whether she'll watch, later on, or if she doesn't, who knows. But it's possible she'll watch and go, well, I liked the other take because it emphasized this better, and that's, like, this is the kind of typical relationship a director and an editor have. So, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back and we're gonna look at the cut between the two of these two scenes, because there are, to me, there are only 2 points where I could cut between these shots. We shot overlap, which is the thing you should always do if you're filming, especially if you're filming movement. But even in general, you should always shoot overlap. You never want one shot to end right where the other one starts in terms of how you plan it and cut it. You want to have a little bit more on either end, so that you, for moments like this, and I'll explain. But like this thing, we had this whole bit where she hands him the wallet back, and then he takes it, and then he closes the door, and then he nods, and then they move, because we shot that's the end of the scene before, and by shooting it this way, now no matter where we find, we watch that scene, we look at the way they act in it, and no matter where we find to make that cut. No matter where we decide to make that cut, we know we have the overlap. We can cut it where that scene needs to end, and we can cut into this shot as we need to. Same thing here. We cut this scene this shot here kind of goes pretty much until at least if I go back to here, if I go back to just the original shot itself, he does actually leave the room. So we could cut this shot, like he leaves the room, we could cut this shot all the way, like we could cut to here when he's actually stepping out. So we overlapped. But now, here's the thing where it comes to, we've only got, like I said, I only have 2 choices on where to make this cut. One of them is, like, 2 people step out of the room. She steps out, and then he steps out afterwards. And that is... And it's one of those 2. I want to cut on their movement. I don't want to cut. I want the cut to feel like it's part of the flow and part of the journey. If I cut when they're different spots, it's not going to work. She leaves the room. If I cut when she leaves the room, I'm cutting here. And I'm gonna do two versions of this just to see what it looks like. So we're gonna do a copy, and we're gonna paste. Cool. So we got two versions, and we will talk about why I make the decision I do at the end. So here we go. So she leaves the room. So she effectively leaves the frame. She's gonna walk. I'm gonna see her walk that way. This might be a bit of a jarring cut. We're gonna cut here. And then we're going to, we see her go to the thing, and then we're going to cut right on, like on her foot coming out. So let me delete that middle bit. There we go. So that's how that cut would work. Let's look at this one, where we're going to keep it a little bit longer. We're going to go to him, and we're going to go further until his head comes out. We're going to pull this back. Watch that. Yeah, that movement's pretty good. It's actually a little bit short. It's a little bit, there's a couple frames that we can pull this a couple frames back. I don't want to lose him poking his head out like that, because it verges on a cartoonish little cute little pop out, and I like that. I think that fits the moment and gives us a little bit of, reminds the audience that we can have a little fun at this movie. Better without it. It's actually, I think it's better without it. Okay, so we're gonna undo those cuts. Cool. All right, so now, don't need to do that. I'm gonna go back down to here. So we have two versions of this cut. We've got this one that is focused on her, where she steps out, checks, motions to him. Then he pokes his head out and the scene plays out. Or we have the version that stays with him a little longer. She exits frame, we stay with him for a moment, and then he sticks his head out there, and she's already in place. Now, and this is I love the chance to talk about this, because this is the moment where both of these work. Both of these cuts work. One of the rules, one of the kind of, we are sort of jumping the 180, but not in a bad way, especially just because of the way it's lit and the way it's shot. But both of these moments work. They flow smoothly. I don't think it feels to anyone like you've lost the flow of the moment. If our focus is in the center on him, our focus stays in the center, and we land on her. Same deal here. He moves. Camera's pretty much keeping him center. He's gonna poke his head out on the edge there, and then we're looking here, and we see his movement. Our eyes were here. He moves there. That brings us to him there, and that's fine. Or if we look at the mirror, then we look to him, and then we kind of come back. Yeah, that movement helps. So both of these work. At least in a first draft, they work. I think they both work for now. I will probably doubtlessly go back and revisit these cuts 200 times. Every time I watch the movie, I might adjust them each time until I find something that I think either I find something that I'm like, yes, this definitely is the way to go, or until we hit a deadline and have to release the movie, and at that point I can't change things anymore, and then I will just be sad. But yes. So the question here, the difference between these two, given they both work and they're both fine, and this is one of the decisions that I talk about editing being important, this is a minor version of it, is doing it this way, we are following her. She leaves that moment, and we follow her. This moment's about her, and he's tagging along. This moment here, we're following him, and she is already there. For this moment, especially because I know what's coming later, in the story, in this case, I'm going to go with him. But I am still going to say, and this is where, again, I talk about saving stuff in the RHSC. We're going to, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it in here as a second version of the scene. Actually, let me undo that. Let me go back to here. Let me put this on my second track. There we go. So now I've got this as a whole collective scene, and I know where that, yeah. because the cut is in a different spot, and I want to make sure that that maintains its flow. Let's put this back here. Let's go back to the assembly cut. Excellent. So now I can delete that because it's saved in the RHSC, and I can delete that space, and now, just pasted it again. Here is how, so now we stick with him here, and that is cohesive with the way this scene played out beforehand. That the camera moves with him, and he is center frame, and this is still not even that this is his story, which at this point in the script it does come across that it is. We are discovering things with him. He's the character whose head we are we're the most in his head. We understand her. We like there's a scene before this that we get to meet her and talk, and we hear her talk, and so we understand her, but we're definitely still with him. And that is a thing that this is one of the things that I adore the hell out of about this script and the way Elena wrote it and directed it. Is this script does a masterful job, and these actors just absolutely enhance it. Does a masterful job of controlling whose story this is very specifically. And so my job as the editor is to make sure that stays consistent, and that I don't mess up what was written in the script, but B, that I enhance what was written in the script. So that is part of the huge important part of my job as editor. Now I talk about the script for reference. I'm gonna read the way. Here's what this scene is supposed to be, is written as in the script. Interior hallway, night. The party can be heard in adjacent rooms. Madeline and Arthur exit the back kitchen one at a time. Arthur has donned a catering jacket. They round the staircase. This script was written prior to finding a shooting location, as you would expect. So the imagined house we were in gets adjusted for this. But things I noticed. So the party can be heard in an adjacent room. That's part of the reason we lit the scene with light coming from coming from other rooms, and we have that moment of Arthur sneaking through shadows, sneaking around shadows. So that's good. Madeline and Arthur exit the back kitchen one at a time. Arthur has done a catering jacket, so they are together, but there is still some distance between them. There's the one at a time, and so I look at the script right now, having edited together a version of this moment, so that I can say, okay, are we not so much? I'm not so much looking at I'm not so much looking for am I getting the action exactly right, because the action has changed by virtue of the house we shot in, but I'm looking at, all right, the feeling I get from reading this line, do I get the same feeling from watching this scene? That's the question I get. And in this case, I feel pretty confident. Let's watch this. And then we've been going for an hour and 10, so we're going to call it a night at this point. I got one more little thing that I always like to do on stream at the end. And then we will call it a night, and we'll jump and we will pick this up the next time I come on. So here we go. Let's watch this scene. Okay, I know that cut's there, and I'm not catching it anymore, which is excellent. Alright, that's that scene, and I'm really happy with how that looks. I'm finding stuff in it that I didn't see the first couple times. I didn't see him do this little like rubbing the back of his head, which I think is good. Helps continues to convey some nervousness. This moment here where he pokes his head out gives us this moment of pause to reset to the new frame, gives us a chance to take in the moment, which is good. I'm always trying to be cognizant of where the audience is. As editor, you are, like, as cinematographer, you are kind of the first audience because you're the first one who gets to see it through the lens. But as editor, you're the first one who starts to kind of play the audience and see and try to imagine what they're feeling. And so that is, I'm trying to give myself the space that I as an audience member would need. She walks across. We get to see a nice contrast between her confident walk through the light versus his shadowy walk. And as she walks through, she kind of gives us a tour of the light, so we know what to expect from him. He steps in, up, shadows. And there we go. He's coming across. Comes up to her, and she steps out. I like that little glance back, and he follows. And his physicality, his physicality even throughout the whole thing says, I don't know if I'm safe, and that's really good. Okay, one more thing to do, because I always like to do it, and it's a cool thing, and I this is a treat I save for myself. Let's find a frame that I like. I like that frame. So this footage that you're looking at here, this is raw footage. This is raw footage out of the camera. This has not been color graded at all and has not been edited, or it's been edited now, but like I've been cutting it together. But this is what it looked like right out of the camera. What I'm gonna do is save the project first, and then I'm gonna switch to color grading, which is just a different workspace in Premiere. And I'm not gonna do a whole lot. I'm just gonna throw a LUT on that will set the. Can I select that, please? Come on. There we go. That will give us a couple ideas of what this might look like. There we go. There's a bunch of different options, and I'll pick one eventually. But they give us an idea of what this might look like with a color grade on it. So we're gonna watch the scene this way, and it brings up the contrast and it gives us the colors. The mirror's bright. We notice it more this time. That's good. And now those silhouettes really do become silhouettes. And this is a rough grade. I'm going to do a lot more with this to kind of bring up some of this darkness and find the right moments. But this, yeah. Yeah, what might not have felt super like a thriller before, you start color grading, and that's where you start finding. Thank you, Premiere. You start finding a lot of the stuff you can do. Whoa, that was unnecessarily loud, Premiere. I did not need that. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off for now because I don't need it. Yeah, that's the thing I pop on at the end of things. But yeah, just to see the difference there. And that's again, this is just step one of a color grades. There's a lot more that I'm gonna do. But yeah, we get some really nice noir shadows on her face. We get some really nice ones on him. This becomes a lot more about body language and silhouette, which is excellent. And she's in the shadows. We know she's there, but she's still shadowy, which is great. And then they move together, which is cool. All right, so that is. I'm just gonna turn this one off. Let's not do it that way. That might be bad. Just disable from here. That works. Cool. All right, we're gonna save. And yeah, we've been going for an hour and 16, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night on this session for this edit. I can feel myself starting to fade a little bit. I'm coming here from 6 hours of callbacks, so yeah, I'm a little bit creative out, but I'm really excited about this. This is a very fun first night on this movie, and I'm watching the footage, and it is making me just like. It's making me happy. The more I watch it, the more excited I'm getting to keep working on it. So that's where we're at. If I am back on stream tomorrow night, I'm probably not going to be streaming this. I'm going to be working I don't know if I'm going to stream tomorrow night, but if I do, I will probably be streaming photo editing. So if anyone's interested in that, you're more than welcome to join there. I'm going to bring this just back to me for a sec. So yeah, so tomorrow night, if I'm on stream, I don't know if I will be, but if I am, I will be streaming photo editing, more than likely. I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow night, but We will see. There's definitely a good chance I'll be editing photos. But Wednesday night, I will be back on here editing more of B52, as well as Friday night. So Wednesday and Friday this week, and pretty much I'm hoping, my fingers crossed goal, we'll see if I can make it, my fingers crossed goal is to have a rough cut of the movie have a rough cut of the film done by the end of June. It is it's effectively a 10-minute movie, give or take. It's a 10 to 11 page script, which usually translates to about a 10-minute movie. So hopefully I can have a rough cut done by June. And I'm planning on, unless something goes wrong, I'm planning on being on stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week through June working on this. So if you'd like to join, if you'd like to watch, if you'd like to ask questions, get involved, you are more than welcome. As much as this platform, as much as I have a platform here, this is my admittedly, my small drop in a limitless ocean of talented filmmakers. I like to share this as much as I can. So if you are an editor, if you're a filmmaker, if you're an actor, please feel free to talk in chat, share your work, whatever you would like to do. And if you are one of the cast or crew of this movie, by all means, please comment, please share thoughts. I talk a lot, and I do try to give the impression that I think through all of my decisions on editing, but at the same time, at its core, this comes down to emotionally, how do I connect with this? And on that level, if you're watching, your emotional connections are as valid as mine. So if you have thoughts, if you have comments, if you have questions, you are more than welcome to share them. And in the meantime, when we're not sharing this moment together, go make stuff. Go create cool art, because there's so much cool art out there to make, and we are all capable of it. So if you can find the chance to do it, make something cool. Think about something cool. Just write down something cool. Whatever's in your head, make something cool. And yeah, in the meantime, stay safe. Be kind to each other. It's a big scary world. We're all scared, and if you know anything, we gotta be kind. That's sometimes all we can do, and that's more important than we think. So, okay, on that note, have a good night, stay safe, keep making stuff, and I will see you back here, if not tomorrow with some photos, I will see you back here Wednesday night to continue putting this awesome movie together.